Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Evan Here's Culture campaign. It's our 40th album, so that's very exciting to reach that point. And I've got a very exciting guest on the show today. She is a writer, an actor, leader of men and women in various different organizations, and she is a mover and shaker. And lastly, she is is my flatmate, as you might say. It's Jillian Petroski, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. That was my LinkedIn profile right there.
Yeah.
Though
I did them all.
You should tell my parents all of that because
I'll let them know. Yeah,
they
let them
still don't get
put
this.
that on Indeed. So today we're talking about 2016's masterpiece album by the 1975 I Like It When You Sleep, for you are so beautiful yet so unaware of it. It's such a long title that even I...
So every word's so important.
Yeah, I forgot the second, or one of the subs. The second sub. And so on that point, Julie, the 1975.
Mm-hmm.
I've never listened to the 1975 before, never heard a 1975 song. But what's your experience? You have a passion for...
Yeah, so this album is... So for the 1975, really I'm from a little town in Pennsylvania. The name's not important. But it's... in that town, this album was kind of like... I describe it as indie light. Basically, if you were going to if this was your introduction to being different and to being cool, and it was kind of, you listened to this specific album was kind of...
The kids that were alternative, but not too alternative.
Yeah, you were alternative, but you still went to the
You
woods.
Dreamed of being alternative.
Yeah,
it was an aspiration. It was a goal.
Still
so it was just passing through the town like a disease, or...
Yeah, it was passing...
That's maybe a bad example to use in our modern day society.
I would say more not so much a disease, maybe like an STI, because it was fun. Yeah. It was caused by fun, So I think that
fun disbanded in like 2014 or something. They haven't put out an album in a all right. It was the 1975.
Yeah, so shout out to Nate Roos. I'm glad he got a shout out. But yeah, so that was kind of my introduction to this album. Is that this was kind of... It was very much not like this wasn't alternative that you really had to it was still poppy and still top 40. And so that was kind of my introduction to this album. But with the 1975, all of my enjoyment of them is really contained to this one specific album. It's the only really album I enjoy of them. I think everything outside of this is pretentious and annoying, and I think this album is also pretentious.
Well, yeah. Before we delve into the album proper, although you've given us a good framework on which to understand it all.
Yeah.
I will say, I think my one experience with the 1975 before this was, and I've mentioned this to you, I believe my senior year of high school, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my ex-girlfriend, I believe she asked one time, can you get out of school on this Friday so we can go see the 1975 concert? I'm almost certain it was that band. I looked at the tour dates recently to see if they fit for 2017, and it lined up, but I couldn't go because I had exceeded the truancy limit at my school.
I had a friend who missed over half of the senior year. They missed over half of the days of school. And they might have... Rachel, if you're watching this. But, yeah, so...
She could have gone to all the concerts she wanted because she had that sense
she did,
of rebellion.
But yeah, this album is really for white kids in suburbia who want to be different. This is kind of, I think, a great...
Oh, I felt that. I sensed that was kind of the tone. I mean, right from the title.
I like when you sleep. Let's break it down. I like when you sleep, which is not awake, which is not awake and active.
Yeah, unconscious.
I like when you're unconscious.
Likely a woman.
Likely a woman. There's songs that
being
point
described
towards
as unconscious.
Women. Yeah, unconscious, For You Are So Beautiful, which is nice.
Yeah.
They're beautiful when they sleep, but only when they sleep, which is kind of a weird. Yet you are so unaware of it because we want to make sure that women don't know that they're pretty.
Right.
Had
that's what makes You Beautiful come out yet? When this is...
Yes.
You don't know you're beautiful. Yeah, this is like the creepy version of that because you're saying that they're asleep. Which I think maybe that edge is part of it, but I would also say it is interesting because there's sort of the theme in that is the idea of we are unable to see ourselves, or at least unable to see ourselves through the eyes of other people. Yeah. It's something that appears on a lot of the songs. So like the ultimate form of that is like I'm asleep. Yeah. I can't watch myself sleep. So potentially ties into the themes. But also just upsetting to hear.
Yeah, there's also the song "She's So American," which has lines like, "If she likes you because you just don't eat, then she's so American."
And if she likes it, I'm gonna fix my teeth. She's so American. So
there's also, and I didn't realize.
So it's about two conflicting perceptions.
Yeah,
of how these people see each other.
I didn't until I listened to this album for this episode, and when you're 16, you're not fit. You're like, I'm American. Like, this is cool. And then you re-listen to it and you realize that because there's also the song. There's a couple songs on it that are just instrumental. There's a song instrumental that's just "Please Be Naked." Yeah. Which is also cool. One of my favorite songs in the album because there's Matty Healy's voice sometimes.
The front man.
So Matty Healy is the front man. He's kind of the reason why I don't want to like the night. I don't like the concept of the 1975 because Matty Healy is an asshole who thinks he's Jim Morrison reborn.
Yes, I don't know if this is true or we can verify this, but I seldom go on Reddit. But I was on Reddit recently and I saw a thread that was, "Have you ever had sex with a celebrity and how was it?" And the one person claimed, there's no way to verify it, but that she had sex with Matt Healy and it was awful, and that afterwards he wouldn't stop talking about how his band was changing the shape of music in its entirety and it was never going to be the same again because of the 1975.
Yeah, and we can agree it's not.
No, it didn't change the world.
Go into it knowing that there's pretension everywhere.
And what are the songs? What are the songs that stick out to you, Jillian? You mentioned She's American. You hit the Please Be Naked.
Yeah, I would say my favorite song, my favorite songs off the album are Somebody Else, which is one of the most famous. Somebody Else is like a classic. Love Me is a really good song.
Love Me, which is after the prelude, is like the opener, and that I don't know what it is, what instrument. I think it's like a theremin that does the little cuts to the soul. It's
and If I Believe You has some good also has good. There's the songs that are good are. It comes with the kind of the post production that they did and that kind of stuff. None of the parts that are good about the songs are Matty Healy singing because it's kind of like a chalkboard. Right. And he's also unintelligible most of the time.
Yeah, and not even because of any sort of accent. It's just his voice.
He's British, but
I like the production quality of the instruments and everything. I wanted the voice to be less produced. I wanted it to feel more raw. Yeah. And not breathy necessarily, but
they're not a band that could do an MTV Unplugged.
But so Love Me,
Somebody Else, If I Believe You, The Sound. Those would be probably my favorites. I have the
Change of Heart. I liked that one.
Also, This Must Be My Dream. It's very faux deep. It's also not
right.
It's again where this album shines is the post production and the instrumentals are good. Yeah. The actual
there's some good catchy hooky pop songs on there that have a little bit more going on under the hood.
What was your favorite songs?
Well, probably just pretty much all the ones you just named are the ones that stick out, which is what which sort of leads, as the idea of singles sticking out, kind of leads into what I find to be the paradox of the band, is that there's 17 songs in this album.
Yeah.
It's an hour and 14 minutes. And the band prides themselves on being very cross-genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got this like electric, almost dance stuff. You've got indie pop. You've got rock, alternative rock going on. You've got, sometimes it's funky, sometimes it's R&B, sometimes it's gospel.
Yeah.
It's got all the sounds. And so their whole idea of it being that long is like, this way you fully understand the range of the band.
Yeah.
With a 114 minute, an hour and 14 minute album, you understand the scope, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's too long to listen to.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think I was ever able to get through it in one sitting without having to go do something else in between. And so then the paradox comes in where, okay, I don't want to listen to the whole thing, but I want to listen to 1975, and beyond it's beyond, you know, there's some singles you can listen to, but you won't get the full range of the band. And also, because they do all these sounds, it's almost a master of none situation, where you're like, well, if I'm going to listen to a single, and I want to listen to something with an indie pop flair, I'm going to listen to an actual indie pop band, you know, that puts I don't know if you agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, at first when you said Master of None, I thought you were comparing them to Aziz Ansari.
No. Jack of all trades.
They are the Aziz Ansari of bands in a way. Their albums are lengthy because I think it plays also into the pretension of loving to hear themselves.
Of course.
And
because the EPs are like album length, like normal album length, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I think this album just sounds like hating your parents. I think is the best. If I had to describe it to someone, for me personally, like this album sounds like being a 16-year-old.
Do you remember if there's any parent-specific material that appears on the album?
Is there parents? I just remember listening to somebody else and laying in my childhood bedroom and wanting to revenge the world for the wrongs they had done me, being a girl living in the state of Pennsylvania.
And their perceived wrongs. So in some case, maybe not in your case, but probably in Matt Healy's case.
He's a wealthy trust fund boy, which I think also...
And it comes across in the music, certainly.
So that also, I think, plays into
that
why...
level of pretension and self-awareness that doesn't negate it. It's still pretentious.
Exactly. And so I think that also plays into the fact that, like, also why I don't really like subscribing to the 1975 as a band, because it's not like they're people you want to root for or really follow their career, because I don't know, it's just kind of a bunch of rich boys running around telling me that they're Jim Morrison. And also with the 1975, I think might bring up this point earlier.
Who was great? Jim Morrison, incredible. Go listen to the Doors. They didn't have an album this decade. I don't know why.
My parents met at a Doors tribute band, so I attribute everything to Jim Morrison.
Come on and touch me, babe. But all right. So anyway,
something like that.
And I think if there's one like final sort of thought about why they're a good band with a good sound but not a great sound, is that your parents met at a Doors tribute concert.
Yes.
And got married. Nobody's ever going to meet and get married at the 1975 tribute concert when Matt Healy dies. Or was it Matt Healy or Matty Healy?
Matty Healy.
Okay, when nobody's, there's not going to be, Matty you know how they're always trying to find the new Freddie Mercury of like, is it Adam Lambert? Is this guy from Jukebox the Ghost? They're never going to be thinking, who is the new Matty Healy? Do you have anything to plug, Jillian?
On October 30th, the Emerson Channel Comedy Special is doing their 8th season. It's going to be Cicero. If you guys know Cicero, he's a Roman. Oh,
he's Rome's greatest politician, right?
Yeah, Rome's greatest politician, if you guys have known about him. He's hosting it. So it's Cicero presents the Emerson Channel Comedy Special. We have 5 comedians that are really great. So I'd love for you all to tune in.
I wonder what their other albums sound like.